Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to this broadcast of NRI Talks. I'm your host, Omar, and today we are extremely excited to host an amazing and inspirational guest, this time from the hospitality sector. He's an inspirational person who's really managed to build a name for himself over the past 30-something years and climbing his way through the corporate ladder. There's some amazing advice to be heard today, so you don't want to miss this one. Now, before we actually get started and dive in, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today from all around the world. I would also like to take a moment to thank the amazing team of Nayef Rajhi Investments for making this possible and continuing to support entrepreneurs from all across the world. Now, let's take a look at today's guest.
Mark Willis brings with him a wealth of operational experience alongside an intuitive knowledge of the Middle East and Africa, a region that he has worked in for over 12 years. With a career spanning over 30 years with leading hospitality companies including IHG and Sun International, a large portion of his professional life was spent with the Radisson Hotel Group, where he held a number of senior leadership positions, including Senior Vice President, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. It was in this role that Mark oversaw all brands within a portfolio of 85 hotels, with over 80 hotels in the development pipeline. Previous to his appointment, he was the president for the Asia region with Mövenpick Hotels and Resorts, a very dynamic area with a robust expansion strategy to open 30 properties by 2020. He joined the group's executive committee in September 2018 when the group finalized the acquisition of Mövenpick Hotels and Resorts.
And joining us from Dubai is the CEO of Accore, Middle East and Africa, Mr. Mark Willis. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Always a pleasure. Mark, I mean, what a great and interesting start to your career and acceleration over the years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but back in 1989, I think you entered the field of hospitality as a pastry chef. Walk us through the progression of your career from back in the day until today. Did you ever see yourself becoming the CEO of one of the largest hotel groups in the world?
It's a long time ago. 1989. That's for sure. I mean, no, not at that time. In essence, I was very caught up in the kitchen and the dynamic of that time, which was a fabulous era of food. I was based in London in the UK, and fell into the industry and just loved it straight off. And yeah, had a wonderful career in the kitchen before moving out of that into more senior management. But in answer to your question, no, not at all. I didn't foresee a role with Accore or indeed leaving the kitchen at that time, or indeed making it to a senior role as I have today. No, not at all.
Now, many of our viewers today are within the hospitality, maybe even travel and tourism sector, and they aspire to achieve the same levels of success that you've achieved. How can others follow in your footsteps? In other words, what are the main elements that contributed to your growth in the field of hospitality?
I think the passion point is a key one for me. You know, I see, or I've seen over the years, people come into the industry and then step out of it into something more, let's say, structured. You know, it's an industry full of flamboyancy and charismatic people. And I mentioned before the vibe. My comment there would be, if you're joining the industry at an early stage, give it a chance, let it get under your skin. It's a fabulous environment to work in with a lot of wonderful people. And then, as always, dealing with the general public every day is also such a positive and such a different dynamic. But if you want 5 days a week, 9 to 5 structure, then perhaps this industry is not for you. That's what I would say. Work hard, trust those key people around you. So many people have helped me fantastically in my career and guided me, given me so much advice over the years. If you can combine all those things, you know, it's a fabulous journey that you can take, and it's an industry that's full of opportunity, regardless of your background or the education that you had or where you come into the industry from. And again, as you mentioned, I'm an example of that. So yeah, it's an industry of opportunity, and if you fall in love with it as I did, and you're passionate about what you do, I think the opportunities are limitless. I really do.
Very interesting. Actually, speaking of dealing with the general public, I mean, you went from, I guess it could be called an operational role of being a chef, which typically, you know, is someone working behind the scenes, to actually working more, you know, in the front aspect of the operation. So going from being a chef to the CEO, is this a common crossover that actually happens? Do you see that happening quite a lot in the industry, or is this a very unique scenario that's happened with you?
No, not unique at all. I think wherever you step into the industry, you know, when you make it up to a general manager level or a senior management level, there's so many different, you know, so many different directions or routes that you can take to get to that senior management level. No, not at all. I have a number of colleagues that have, you know, reached the same level as myself, or general manager at property, and they've come through the food and beverage system, or sales and marketing, or the finance element of the business. So no, not at all, not at all.
Now, the past few months obviously have been extremely challenging for many sectors, but specifically travel, tourism, and hospitality. How did you and your team cope with a lot of these challenging times and difficulties?
I mean, this has been, you know, it's been a catastrophic period for the industry globally. And of course, many industries have been impacted by the pandemic, but certainly no more so than the travel and tourism sector, of course. And you know, at Accore, impacted along with everybody else in the sector. It's been a tough time for everybody. As always, I'm amazed by the people I work with that have done a fabulous job, and we reacted quickly to what was an ever-changing environment at the start of the pandemic. I've spent many years opening hotels, and suddenly I spend 6 weeks closing a lot of hotels under some very difficult circumstances. But I think Accore responded really well. You know, our interaction with our owners, our team members on the ground, and of course our guests, no more so than here in the Middle East and Africa region, which is the region I'm in charge of. Implementing programs such as All Safe to make sure that we're adhering to safety policies in the various locations that we operate. We put in place a partnership with Accore, offering 24-hour medical support. And also something to mention, you know, very quickly, the board approved Accore launching its hardest fund, which was put on the table very early on, 70 million euros made available to support our team members impacted by COVID. The third parties that we deal with, you know, small businesses, people that we interact with who are greatly impacted, and also allowing us to support those people working within the health sector as far as we could. And, you know, today, as we sit today, I think we've supported 30,000 team members globally with the fund, which has been put to fabulous use, and over 2,000 here in the Middle East. So it's a journey that we've been through. It's been a difficult journey, but I think it's been well handled. And again, you know, as always with such things, people come together so wonderfully. I'm always so humbled by such things, and been tough, but hopefully we're also seeing that we're starting to turn a bit of a corner as hotels reopen. We now got 75% of the hotels across this area opened. In Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf, you see the hotels now starting to reopen, which is great to see.
Speaking of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf, I mean, you're no stranger to the Middle East. You've spent quite a bit of time here in the region. Question is, why the Middle East?
Why the Middle East for me personally?
Yes, correct.
It's a really interesting question, actually. I came here and I don't know, I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the people and the dynamics of the location. Call me old-fashioned, but I'm one of those people that responds well to transparency, and I love that when you shake hands with somebody here, it means something. over and above a contract. It's a fabulous place to work, super facilities, and it's great for me wonderful for me to have been part of what is a wonderful journey for the Gulf region. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, the rest of the Gulf has developed so wonderfully over the last 20 years that I've been here. It's been a joy to be part of that, and also, it's home for me. This is home.
Now, Saudi Arabia is investing nearly $4 billion into the hospitality sector and has actually started domestic tourism and international programs. How do you see the future of tourism and hospitality in KSA specifically over the next 10 years?
The last 3-4 years in Saudi Arabia, especially within the tourism sector, it's fabulous to see visionary leadership, positioning the country in a different way globally from what it has done previously. There's some wonderful projects being put on the table, and it's fabulous to see Saudi Arabia wanting to open itself up to the outside world. And, people are starting to get a glimpse of that now as it hits social media. And a lot of work being put into the giga projects that are ongoing, NEOM, Alula. And as those things start to hit social media, Saudi Arabia will soon become one of those top 10 destinations in the world, must see. And if you look at a destination like Petra, which is one that's known to so many people, and it's beautiful. And I'm a photographer. I love that whole area. I've been there many times. It's so beautiful. But go to Alula. You will be shocked. It's absolutely breathtaking. And I think as Saudi Arabia positions itself as a tourism destination, they have will, desire, they have the financial backing, like I say, great leadership. And I think the future looks extremely bright for Saudi Arabia as a destination of choice. Wonderful beaches, fabulous deserts, mountain regions, snow. Destinations such as Alula, again, are going to be just fabulous for so many to see. That is for sure. So I think future looks amazing for Saudi Arabia.
Speaking of the future for Saudi Arabia, Naifa Rajhi Investments has signed a deal with Accore for the first standalone Fairmont serviced residence. And I believe the final product is named Ramla Serviced Residence. Can you tell us a little bit more about this project and why people need to be excited about it? What sort of opportunities could it open up, especially, let's say, for employment and growth within the country?
It's going to be a super project. Really, one of those exciting projects that luckily I get to be involved with. 246, so nearly 250 serviced residences, super mix of luxury apartments. It's a Nikanseki design, which is a very, very famous Tokyo-based interior designer. That again, the guys at Al Rajhi have pushed for in order to make something a little bit special. It'll have some great food and beverage outlets and a number of other great facilities. Obviously, health club, cinema. It's going to have also a wonderful lounge. It's going to be really, really cool. But as always, and we're lucky enough to be involved in some great projects across the area. Critical for Accore is the people we work with. It's great to touch base and meet and interact with the team from Al Rajhi. They've got wonderful leadership. When you tour that office, there's a super vibe across the whole place, which is fabulous to see. Global company, yes, based in Riyadh, but offices elsewhere globally, including London. Just a super organization to interact with, and we get a lot of opportunities. But you don't want to do business with everybody. You want to do business with the right partners. And for Accore, it's fabulous that we're able to form a partnership, and we look forward to that going forward with Fairmont, which is going to be a wonderful hotel, a wonderful residence.
Excellent. Now, by the way, we have a few questions that have come in from the audience. The first question comes from Sarah Michaels in Dubai, and she says, "I have always wanted to start a boutique hotel in the region because I see a gap in the market for it. Any advice on whether such a concept would work?"
Listen, there is some fabulous boutique hotels out there. It is a growing segment in the region, which has been, the key destinations, whether it be in Saudi Arabia or the rest of the Gulf. Dubai has been very much focused on luxury and large hotels, but now you start to see some boutique properties come into the region, less inventory, super attention to detail. It's definitely a growing segment. And what I would say in addition, to Sarah, if you're listening now, don't put this on a shelf somewhere. If you have an idea, bring it to the table, discuss it with people around you, see if you can take it forward. And if you can't, that doesn't mean you should put it on the shelf. Give it another push and see if you can take your ideas forward. As I mentioned before, opportunity in the hospitality sector.
Excellent. Now, we have another question that comes in from Mahran Nasser from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And he says, as a guest relations manager in a chain of hotels, I'd like to know your tips on how to better retain clients and what are the main success factors in doing so.
Gosh, it's another big question. It's a big topic. Listen, I make a comment. There's so much power with a smile, and I know locations I go to where the food is better in another location. I still go to that location because I know that waiter. He's great with my kids, smiles when we come in, remembers my name. There's a lot of power in a smile, and you want to make people remember their stay, personal interaction, letting them know that you're serving them with your heart, and obviously that shows up in a smile. I think it's a very powerful thing. So if you're looking for a tip on that one, that would be my tip.
Great. Now the next question comes in from Beirut, Lebanon. And by the way, our hearts go out to everybody in Lebanon, and we hope everybody is keeping safe there. The question comes from Khalid Mohammed, and he says, I'm currently studying tourism and hospitality in Lebanon. How long does it take for a fresh graduate, in your opinion, to become a general manager and to grow into that position?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a time frame for that, Khalid. I think it's a good question, but there isn't a set time frame for that. And I think what you need to do is, as I say, come into the industry with a little bit of passion post your studies, and make sure that your journey is a solid one. Surround yourself with as many good people as you can. Diversify and trying to gain experience in different locations, and indeed within different elements of the business, and that'll elevate you through management and senior management to a general manager role. The other thing is, I would say, don't push yourself to reach that role and believe that's the goal. Being happy in the industry, and we spend a lot of time at work. Critical thing is to do that with a smile on your face, and that also brings a lot of success. That's what I would say.
Okay, next question comes from Hassan Nuran in Abu Dhabi, and he says, I currently work as a chef in a 5-star hotel in Abu Dhabi. I'm looking to make a switch into the operational side. Can you please give me some advice? Yeah,
I mean, Hassan, if that's what you want to do, make sure you follow that dream and apply yourself accordingly. And if you're doing a fabulous job in the kitchen, make sure that those senior people around you are aware that the direction you'd like to take is outside the kitchen. Too many times, especially when you work with more junior people, they don't raise their hand enough, and they don't ask enough or demand enough. And again, if there's not opportunity with your current employer to make that switch from the kitchen to a more operational role, then do something about that yourself. It's not easy to do, to take those jumps, but it's absolutely vital if you want to go forward.
What are some of the most difficult challenges you faced as Mark during your career over the past 30 plus years, and what did you do to overcome them?
you know, the industry is so diverse, and you get involved in communities and people's lives, and whether it's dealing with issues in Libya during some very difficult times, issues in Lebanon during some very difficult times, or other locations in the world. There have been a lot of difficult moments in my career. And if I could make a comment there, the key thing for me is trust those people around you. If there's one thing I've learned in the face of adversity, the team around you will always come to the fore. And again, as I say, I'm always humbled by the way people react and come together. And no more so than the last couple of days with the awful events in Lebanon. Absolutely terrible, of course, and so many people impacted. But I also see the response, and you know, I see hotel brands forget their brands, assist each other very openly, super supportive. Everybody working in a collaborative way for the wider good. It's just a joy to see our wonderful owners in Beirut reacting so positively and in such a supportive manner. So if there's anything I could comment, it would be trust those people around you. They'll always deliver. They'll always raise their hand and put themselves forward. And again, I think it's inherent of the industry that such a vibe is in place.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark, for the kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mark Willis, CEO of Accore, Middle East and Africa, joining us from Dubai. Mark, we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Omar on the behalf of Naif Al-Rajhi Investments signing off. Please make sure you tune in to the next live episode, and we'll see you soon.